expecting identical twin boys, and I lost them at 23 weeks, which was very heartbreaking. I didn't think I needed therapy at that time. I'm in a meeting, the meeting is over, I'm running to the bathroom, having that panic attack, and I'm crying, and I don't know how to stop it. And then I'm just wiping it off, putting on some makeup, and going back and working again. I realized something was wrong, but I didn't know what to do. And at that time, my company was offering a free complimentary therapy session. So I just said, you know what, let me try.
Welcome to Women and Work, the show where we take an inside look at how women are overcoming our own unique challenges as we grow our careers or build a business while nurturing relationships and family. I'm Diane Mocha, founder and CEO of MomSub, the childcare app that connects you to a substitute mom. And I want you to know that work can fit your life. Each week, we meet a woman who has done that. Today, I'm with Shruti Trivedi. She is the founder and CEO of Tulsi Heals Coaching, helping women prioritize self-care without guilt. Thanks for being here, Shruti.
Thank you so much. You are so energetic, Diane. I have to say that. Uh, I love the energy to just kick off this conversation. And thanks for the generous and kind words to introduce me.
You're welcome. And yes, that's all about what we do, right? As women, we bring passion to the things that we care about. And this is a very personal conversation because you shared with me that you endured a personal pain that a lot of women do, including myself, pregnancy, loss, and grief. And I also know you spent 13 years in the IT industry, and that means you were likely surrounded by men who could not really fully understand the time that you may have needed to heal. And I wonder if that in particular was your biggest challenge, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, I mean, to begin, I started my IT journey in 2012, and I already had a child. My eldest daughter was 2 years old at that time. Like you mentioned, yeah, in IT, I was in most of my teams, I was the only woman, or maybe one other with me. And it was difficult at times with my other pregnancies where um, it it gets tricky where people don't understand what you really need, and or like with some of the management that I have experienced in the past, questioning your ability if you're able to work and be pregnant. I've had multiple conflicts with management on that, and but we can do it. And I think with all my other pregnancies, I've been able to handle work and my family, and I've shown that I can do it, and we can do it. It's we are blessed to do it. So I think it's just looking within ourselves. I think we as women question ourselves so much, and we we don't really we are not confident. When somebody questions us, we question ourselves, like, okay, am I really worth it? Am I uh, really good at it? That imposter syndrome kicks in very fast. And sometimes it's necessary for even women to do women, like holding each other's hands and saying we can all do it together. So
Mhm.
that's really helped me, and that's what I want to do going forward. Just helping out and bringing more confidence in within women that you're capable of doing. And I learned it through self-care. For more than 10 years in my career in IT, I put myself last on the list, or maybe not even on the list. Like, only work, no after work happy hours or dinners, nothing. Just come back home, serve the family. And I think that affected me a lot, because when you don't take care of your own self, you cannot be a good person for others. I was a not really great mom for my family, because I was always whiny. I was frustrated at times because I was not at peace or happy from within. And since the last couple of years, I've been taking good care of myself. I go out on a movie, not feeling that guilt, or a body massage. And that has changed for myself. Like, yes, I want it, I'm going for it. And it's okay. I'll take my kids some other time, and I'm not going to ignore my kids. And that's something I'm trying to advocate for. It's okay to step out, it's okay to take time for yourself, and you'll be a better person for others.
Hmm. So I wonder in your life, who is in your village, your family? How many kids do you have? How old are they now? Are you married? Do you have family, and friends around you who support you a lot? Or have you been feeling like for years, did you feel like you were doing a lot of things yourself or that you carried this burden that I have to do everything?
So yeah, I have a beautiful family. I'm married. I have three beautiful children. My girls are 15 and 11, and I have a 6-year-old son. Um, Fortunately, I'm surrounded with a wonderful community that we have built in the US here, who are always there. So, for example, my husband was hospitalized a couple of years back, and I realized how much of a community I have over here. I was getting food delivered every day from my friends. Um, my friends were checking in on me here and there, and it was so organic, and I felt like, I have built a wonderful community here that they were ready to even drive me back and forth to the hospital where my husband was hospitalized, and I think I'm blessed with that. Um, with my parents, they're back home in India, but very supportive of my career, and they really, I think I'm very blessed with that.
Hmm. So many people who are women would think to themselves, I have all these blessings. I should be grateful. So what if I don't have time for myself to do a massage? Like you said, there's that guilt. Why do you feel that it is necessary when you have so many other things in your life? And does it ever feel like something you have to check off? And can you tell me when you started recognizing it and doing it, what difference that it made?
I think personally for me, perfection is was one thing that as simple as loading dishwasher dishes in the dishwasher. I know I had a particular way of loading, like cups on one side, the bowls on one side, the big spoons on the forks, the knives, and I think with perfection, then it becomes difficult to delegate. So I have to do laundry my own way. I have to do the dishes my own way. I have to wrap up the kitchen my own way, and my way is the right way. I think if we live in that illusion, then it gets difficult. Then everything is on myself. And it took me years to even realize and come just get over that perfection. It's okay if the bowl and the mug are next to each other and they are not aligned, they'll get washed. So it took a lot of self training and self coaching for myself, that it's okay to delegate certain things to my kids. Like my kids do the laundry now, laundry folding, and it's okay if not everything is perfectly folded. And sometimes, on the contrary, they do a better job of folding the laundry than me. So I think getting out of that illusion as well, that okay, my way is not the right way. Sometimes others can also do a better job, uh, and that's really helped me get that load off and divide and conquer the work. And I think it that's the biggest, I think, blocker, where we don't necessarily delegate, and then we think everything is on us and we have to do it, and then it goes into that downward spiral of not having time and complaining and getting stressed.
Hmm. Yeah, I once I realized, you know what? I would rather my husband load the dishwasher and not even know how he's doing it and have it be done than have that just another burden that I have to deal with and worry about. That was very freeing. And I agree. I think a lot of times perfection and control of wanting it done, our way gets in the way. We talked earlier about this this loss that you experience. I wonder when that happened in your life and in your family and in your career. And did that impact the trajectory of your career and your decision to go into coaching away from IT work?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first loss was right after my first child in 2011. I was not working at that time. It was December 31st, 2011. That was a New Year's Eve. We were actually going to announce our pregnancy that night. We had a party to go to, and unfortunately, that same morning, I had my ultrasound, and they said there's no heartbeat, and you have to terminate the pregnancy. It it was just shocking. I had never really thought about it. I just thought, oh, I'm so young. I was only what 27 at that time. I'll have a baby. I'll have a second baby. I was also thinking about, oh, the first and the second child will be 1.5 years apart, or and things like that. But yeah, that was just traumatic. And what I did to not address, I went through the labor, and I had the miscarriage. But what I did was escape. In 2012, I went crazy finding jobs, and I landed up with my IT job in 2012, not getting any therapy, not getting any kind of support, because I wanted to avoid, escape from it. And I started working. My second loss was back in 2017, and I was expecting identical twin boys, and I lost them at.
You still just had one child at that point?
Yeah. So I did have another child in 2013. I have my
Okay.
middle daughter. And then
Okay.
my second loss was in 2017, where I was expecting identical twin boys, and I lost them at 23 weeks, which was very heartbreaking. They lived for 2 hours, and I was fortunate enough to hold them on my chest all night. But that again, with that, I I didn't think I needed therapy at that time. I came back home. I knew my family was here. My mother flew to the US for me. I had my entire family. My in-laws were here. My brother-in-law, my sister were here. They were all here to support me, but I didn't understand that I needed to address it. I joined work in 1 week of my delivery. I was working remotely, but I told my manager after I went back, give me so much work so that I have no time to think about anything. And he was like, Shruti, you need to take some time for yourself. And I was like, no, I just want work. Please give me work. And he respected my decision. He loaded a couple of projects on me. And I was busy, but I still had time to cry and have those panic attacks. And I was not understanding why I'm having them when I have my entire family to support me. Again, a few years went by, and the following year, I was fortunate to conceive again. I have my 6-year-old boy. It, I kept convincing myself, okay, my two boys, are back as one life. But again, in 2019, 2020, 2021, I was still having panic attacks around the same dates that everything started, and I had delivered my boys, and I was unable to realize like what's happening. Now I have a family, a beautiful family. I have a house. I have everything that anybody could wish for, and I still feel so low, and I feel still get those panic attacks where I'm just rushing to, and I'm in a meeting. The meeting is over. I'm running to the bathroom, having that panic attack, and I'm crying, and I don't know how to stop it, and then I'm just wiping it off, putting on some makeup, and going back and working again. That's where I realized something was wrong, but I didn't know what to do. And at that time, my company was offering a free complimentary therapy session. So I just said, you know what, let me try. It was like a trial. And I went with a very negative attitude. Like, this is the therapist is going to say, you have everything in life. You just want to complain. It was on the contrary, she was shocked that I ignored my mental health for so long. And when we digged through it, came across that I had not even addressed my miscarriage and the grief that I was carrying through in my first one in 2012. So it was like almost 11 years of grief and trauma that I was carrying through. And I was happy on the outside, but I was breaking in the inside. And after going through 1 year of therapy is where I realized the importance of it. I experienced my own transformation. The way I'm speaking to you right now, it was not this way. I used to avoid the topic completely, or speak in bits and pieces and avoid it. And that's where my journey, healing journey, began. And I said, okay, I want to help other women, take the help, because this is such a topic of stigma. And like in general, mental health is there's so much stigma around it. And then when it comes to pregnancy loss, it's a huge taboo to talk about it. So I want to break that and normalize the conversation. Like it's okay to get therapy. Like we do with our physical health, we talk so normally. I have a fever, I can broadcast it on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere. But when it comes to mental health, I personally, I used to say I'm going to run an errand or I have a bank appointment when I used to get therapy. So I think I want to break that. I want to normalize, and that's what I do now. When I meet out with friends, I say, yes, I take therapy, and it's been beneficial for me. And yeah, if you want it, um, talk about it. I think just simple, make it simple, don't complicate it. So it's been quite a roller coaster journey. And with respect to your other question about work, um, I've had my own challenges with with work, where with not specifically with losses. Like with losses, people have been very respectful and very supportive. But with one of my pregnancies, with my middle daughter, there were challenges where with management, where the it got tricky, where I was told to come into the office just a few weeks after my maternity leave, and within IT we can work remotely. So I had like, why can't I work remotely and I can do my job, and I've been with the company for a while. So there was a lot of back and forth with those kinds of conflicts that I had to face, even going up to the HR and getting that permission that I can do my job. So I've literally done that. I was feeding my baby in with one hand, with one hand, and working on my on a huge production issue, or with being on call with management, and it's possible. So it's just, those are just the different areas where I had some challenges.
So let's break that down, this maternity leave and the challenges. Most women are advocating for longer maternity leave, for companies to give them that space and that time and pay for it, and then help them transition back. But it sounds like you're saying you had the opportunity to take that time, but you didn't want to, and you were pushing your company to allow you to come back sooner, and they wouldn't allow you to. Um, did you have a reason? Like you were worried if you were gone too long, you would be replaced? Did that have to do with the fact that you didn't have the confidence in your industry because you were a woman surrounded by men?
So I did get, so my previous company offered only 6 weeks of maternity. I stretched it to 8 weeks.
Okay.
So I did get my 8 weeks of
Okay.
maternity leave. I my issue was I wanted to breastfeed my baby, and with breastfeeding, I couldn't go into the office, and then you know the didn't make any sense. So my request was just let me
Ah,
work remotely.
okay.
That was the challenge, and it and management had a hard time approving that, even though they knew that I was one of the most reliable members in the team. Like if there was an issue at 2 o'clock, they would call me and I would answer, and I would get on my laptop and start working. But it was just, I think, there were questions around how are you going to manage? How are you going to, if you're going to be feeding your baby, how are you going to be able to work? And I'm like, I can still do it. And, and then I showcase them that, if there is a big production issue or if there's a big release going on, I can still do it. I'll manage my time differently. I'll schedule my feeding times. Was blessed that I had my mother with me. So all the other like diaper changing and then giving the baby a bath or even putting her to sleep was taken care of by my mom. And I was able to work. It was just, I think, the also the understanding. There was it was just bad management, I would say, and a lot of conflicts at that time where I really felt like, should I be even working anymore? But then I was like, okay, I have an additional responsibility. I need to work. You kind of go in that mode where you're like, okay, I cannot leave work. I think it took me a while to even leave that team, and that was the best decision for me. Um, but those are the things that just kind of make you question why can't people just understand and respect your decisions? Like I there was a point where I was told, why can't you feed bottles to your baby? Why do you want to breastfeed? And I'm like, none of your business. Like, why? I didn't have that courage to say that it's none of your business, and that's what I'm like today. I would say that, but I didn't have the courage to say back answer at that time. Like, this is none of your business how I choose to feed my baby. Um, and those conflicts were quite bitter at that time, where it got into like, you have to be in the office like at least 4 hours and then go back home 4 hours, and then that's the whole agreement that we came on to, that okay, this is what something maybe sensible, which didn't really make sense to me because I could work from home the same amount of effort. On the contrary, I could be up and log in at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's what I did in the pandemic. Like we were all home. I used to boil my eggs, log in on the side, and I was up at 6 a.m. and I would start working at 6 a.m. I think we are also kind of trained that way that, if anybody is waiting for me for some information, I would provide that to them before they even log in at 9. So yeah, those I hope I answered your question. It was I think not the issue with me going back early. It was just, I mean, my company anyways had a very short maternity leave compared to, I think there are some companies like my last company offered 6 months of maternity. And my eldest daughter jokingly said, "Mama, why don't you get pregnant just to get those 6 months of maternity?" And I'm like, "No, I'm done."
So, were you asking for permanent um, opportunity to work remotely when no one else in the team was? Or were you just saying, okay, as part of a transition plan between the 8 weeks I had off and when I come back in the office full time, can I have a transition period of several months or while I'm breastfeeding that I'm working from home? And, did that seem reasonable? Had anyone ever done it, or was it difficult because you were one of the only women?
I was asking only for 6 months. So because I said by 6 months, I know that I can start some solid foods to my child. So then it becomes easier. I don't have to breastfeed all the time. So 6 months, if you're able to give me work remotely, and I can be there here and there if there are any, specific events or if there is any huddle to be done. I have coverage at home. I can definitely be in office for any like all hands or other kinds of meetings. But I just need that flexibility until 6 months. That's all I would ask for. They finally agreed to 4 months. And then it was um, like you have to be in the office for 4 hours a day. So I started giving bottles to my middle daughter, and I had started that anyways early on, but then it was like one bottle, and then I would come back home and then feed her. And early in the morning, I would also pump out so that I can, she can get that particular bottle instead of formula. So finally, we agreed to that. And I wouldn't say there was a lack of understanding because They were all men who had wives. So I think it was not, I wouldn't say there was anything missing. It was just choice, and it was maybe a
But
way.
they were men who had wives, so they never had to worry or wonder, like, gee, after the baby's born, how am I going to manage? You
Yeah.
know, dad, there's no such thing, or as dad guilt. There's no men wondering about, what's my transition gonna look like, after maternity leave. So while yes, they had children and wives, they didn't face the same challenge that you did, especially if they were saying, "Oh, we'll just give formula. What's the difference?" And so
Ridiculous.
you were not advocating. You were attempting to advocate for yourself, obviously by negotiating, and you did end up negotiating, and there's only so much you can do. But you said you didn't really advocate for yourself in being forthright about what you wanted and whether it was what they thought was right or not. And so I wonder, did that change over time? And did you decide to move into coaching to help others advocate for themselves?
At that time, I would say my confidence levels were so low
Mm.
that, and this is way back in 2013. I had joined the company in 2012, and I can confidently say within 1 year, I had proved myself valuable to the client. Um, it was my confidence level was very low, like working. I don't want to lose work. I've, just been with this company for over a year. And so even though I fought for it, but I still felt insecure at that time to how do I say this? Or I used to belittle my own self up to I would say 2020. Like this was my standard dialogue in the teams that I used to lead. If I can do it, if I can do it, you can definitely do it. This I I feel like how did I say that? I mean, I used to say this very normally. Like if so I used to look down upon myself so much that now when I look back at the version of Shruti, even in 2019 or 2020, I'm like, why did I say that? I used to work so hard. I used to be so dedicated towards certain things. Not all everybody does that way. And I was great at certain things. I had some valuable skills unique to me, but I never looked upon myself in that way. I thought if I can do it, it must be really easy. So I think that has changed over time. And I think again, therapy has transformed me as a person, and that's why I highly advocate for it. I think in the last couple of years, since 2022 is finally when I got therapy, it's it's just me constantly making a new version of myself. Even today, I would say I'm different than yesterday, than being on on your show right now because I've spoken about things that I had not spoken in a long time, and it's just making me better. And I think that's how it connects with my coaching. This is it just makes more sense, and it makes me feel valuable now.
Hmm. So you're doing this on top of your full-time job.
I'm now transitioned, so until June of this year, I was with IT, and I got laid off, and I think it happened for a reason now. Um, I think it's a sign from the universe because I had been trying to kick off my business for a long time, and it was my side gig until now. So now that I'm fully vested in it, it feels the place to be in. I feel blessed. I feel this is my inner calling, my passion, and I'm going to give everything towards it. And and that's what I'm going to do.
Hmm. What do you feel is the big need out there? Are you addressing women that have experienced what you have, an inability to recognize that they need help and to go out and seek it, or women who maybe are staying in a team or a job or a company that doesn't align with understanding what their needs are. What are the guidance, and what are you seeing among these women that you think that they are needing?
Yeah, I think when I speak about self-care in any women group, like I'm in so many different women groups. When I talk about self-care and how much it's treated like another favorite phrase of mine is self-care isn't being selfish, and I say that everywhere I go. Because when we talk about self-care, it's always like, oh, we can do it tomorrow, or let's go to lunch tomorrow. Today I have to take this my son here or my daughter to this competition, and that's a topic that we like avoid, and I think that needs to be prioritized. So that's what I'm hearing when I talk about even my coaching business. It's, I help people take care of yourself, become a better version of yourself so that you are better to others. I think that's the trend that I'm seeing right now.
Hmm. I think one of the ways to advocate for your own self-care is to acknowledge that it's okay to pay for your village. This is something that I try to help women understand. You can hire someone to come and clean your house and not feel guilty about it. You can hire someone to watch your child, even if you're not working, or maybe you have a business that's not generating enough money to quote unquote pay for that care, to be able to take that time yourself, even if it's, say, 4 hours a week, that someone's going to watch your child while you're working on your business, or that is feeding your passion, or you're going out to lunch with a friend or whatever. And so I wonder if you had childcare consistently from family your whole life while you've been a working mom, or if you've had to go out in the community at times and find childcare, and how you dealt with that and if it brought on guilt.
So I've been blessed that when my kids were little, I have always had coverage with my mother or with my parents and my in-laws. They've been here like 6 months. So until they're ready to go to a daycare, which was about 2 years age, I have had coverage. Other ways that I have over time realized is, even if you don't have childcare, stay simple. Like I can give you an example from yesterday. I was having my coffee and my son wanted to play Uno with me. So I told him, let me just finish my coffee. I was watching Jurassic Park, which is one of my favorite series. I can watch Jurassic series all day. And I just told him, let me finish my coffee. Let me watch my dinosaurs and I will play Uno with you. So it could be as simple as that 15 minutes just for myself. Let me finish this, whatever I'm doing right now, or like 1 hour for myself, and then I will give you time. So I mean, if in my case, I was not able to get a specific childcare. My childcare is only my husband, who if I have to go out like for a training or any other boot camp or things like that, I would request him, and he would take care of the kids. But it can be done simple as well. When I'm creating some content or creating some videos, I tell my kids, okay, 2 hours, 3 to 5 p.m. I'm in my room. I'm doing something important. So my kids know that, okay, at 5 p.m., I will get to you. We will make a pizza or we'll bake some cookies or do whatever. But these 2 hours are mine. So I think strategically being intentional, scheduling, and letting the kids know, it just makes it work. And being simple, if you're unable to have childcare or your family is not able to support, come and help.
Hmm.
Are the things that have really helped me over time, and that's what I tell people, that make it simple, don't complicate it.
So you have the older ones, say, watching the younger ones while you're trying to get work done.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, they do charge me a fee per hour.
Both of them or your oldest?
For both of them,
They
and
charge you a fee to watch the 6-year-old.
yes.
They're entrepreneurial. Yeah, my daughter very much so that way. If I'm going to do something to help you, I'll do it, but I want to be paid. Yes.
Yeah, and they do tell me that, he's high maintenance. So the fee that I negotiate for, it's not going to work. Like, I had started this on Saturdays. I would just go out for a 1 hour walk. And then I said, okay, for 1 hour, I'm going to pay you $2 per kid. I was like, no, not 220. He's worth babysitting him for 1 hour is worth $20. And I was like, okay, that's too expensive. I might find an alternative to going on a walk. But yeah, my kids are very smart, and they know. They come back with me, and then they negotiate. Okay, if not 20, let's do 15. Let's do 10 at least. No, no, not under 10.
So after all these years in IT, and now you've transitioned to focus exclusively on your coaching business, do you see yourself returning to IT? Do you miss that? Did you have aspirations to move up in leadership? Did you see yourself in, positions in that in the future? And has that changed? Have you put it on hold? Has being a mom even just revised where you see yourself in the future?
So with IT, I have liked IT always because in general, I'm a very curious person. I like learning new tools, and now I'm going wild with all the AI tools that are coming. Every new AI tool that comes, I want to explore. I want to build a bot. I want to do something. So that will always stay with me. That's just my personality. That's my nature. But returning back to IT, I highly doubt. I mean, I am thinking in a way that when my company has an IT department, that's when I might return to IT. It will be like having somebody working, but I don't miss it at all. This is a place I feel um, completely blessed. I feel this is what I was born for. I feel that my life has a purpose, and it feels so impactful when I get a text from a peer coach, or like when we all peer coaches just talk to each other, and today you sent me an uplifting message, or just talking to you make me feel so much better. That no dollar amount for me can replace that that gratification that I get out of it. And I want to continue in this field, and just explore myself, like, because even within coaching, I know there might be something else that is my niche, and that is some place where I'm going to find out, but I'm on the right path now. uh,
So, have you been able to make that decision when you got laid off and decided to focus full time on your coaching business because you're married, your husband brings in enough to, pay the basic bills? Or was it because you had started it as a side hustle and built it up enough by the time you did get laid off and could focus on it that it was bringing in enough income to, compensate for the loss in the workplace? Which, because I know there's some women out there that are single moms and want to start a business and worry about taking that big leap. So I wonder what your situation is and then what you would say to them.
yeah, no, absolutely. So for me, this has been going on. I would say my journey with life coaching started in 23 when I got my first certification. And then last year I launched my LLC business, and it was my side gig. I had no intention of leaving IT at that time, but I knew that I'm going to transition. So the ideal way to do it was I have enough clients and that I resign from my job. Um, However, I think this year the layoff just came my way, and then it was like, okay, now I'm going to take this as a sign. So I could apply for jobs and get another job, but I looked at my finances. I did a deep dive. Starting this year, I took a deep dive. I mean, that was even before my layoff. I actually looked at my finances. Like, if I don't have a job for say 6 months, how is it going to look like? How am I going to support my family? I have a list of bills that I pay for. Do I have to transfer to my husband? And my answer was I had enough savings that I didn't have to transfer anything to my husband. Even as of now, I pay all the bills that I'm responsible for. So I know another 6 months go, I'm still okay while I'm marketing and generating leads. So that is the research. It was still transitional, but at the same time, yeah, I was scared to resign, I would say. I had multiple things in place. I did my research, but it was just that biweekly salary would stop, and then, oh, what's going to happen now? Will I make enough? So there was a fear. I Again, I would say it was not reckless, and for people who are actually looking for, you know, if you have bills to pay for, just do a research on what would it would look like, at least for say 3 months, if you want to start off with, and then make a decision based on how your finances are, and how much maybe save up for it for the next 6 months, and then make a decision. I think that then it's much organic, and it's much easier to take a step. But you have to take that first step. That's People will say it's risky. People will say, are you crazy? You have a job, just go do a job. People will come with all sorts of, but you'll also find people who will motivate you, who will uplift you. I have friends around me who are like, who watch my social media content, and they are like, I loved it. And then they like my reels. They motivate me for going for long form content. So I would say surround yourself with all that positive people, and keep away from some of the negative people, because then that brings you down. So that's what I do. I know my parents are very supportive, so I talk to them every day, and there are a certain group of friends that motivate me, and I just keep talking to them. And I do get some critical feedback, and I think constructive feedback, I would say, which only makes me better, rather than saying this is don't do this. So yeah, I think for people who are looking, they can maybe take it step by step and do it. And if your finances are awesome, yeah, just go for it. But you have to take that first step. It's difficult. It's it's scary. Like, you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. You don't know whether you're even going to have a single client. There is a lot of fear. Or if your client is going to sign up and then just leave. There are so many fears. And imposter syndrome, like, am I a good life coach? Will I be able to even you know do my job when I have a client? Will I be able to help my clients solve their problems? And doubting your own self. So it's all it all gets difficult at times, but you need to surround for me, what has worked is surrounding myself with a beautiful community. And you have been added to my community now, because I think just talking to you makes me feel more confident that yes, I can do this. And it's going to flourish.
Well, you've come a long way in not just your career, but your understanding of who you are, what you want to contribute to the world, and how you can do that. And I wondered if you were to go back to an earlier version of you, knowing then what you know now, what would you change?
Oh, I would go back to, oh, what, my college days. Like I told you, right? I was intrigued by, I don't know, psychology since my childhood days. I could go and change right there, after my after maybe 10th or 11th grade, and just major in psychology
You
and
would
get,
not have gone into IT.
no, major in psychology, maybe get a PhD degree. Why not? And started off with there, because one of my again my I maintain a wish list in Google Docs. And uh, since I got therapy, I do want to pursue my master's in mental health counseling and become a licensed professional counselor. I truly believe like a combination of a life coach and a counselor would be the ideal combination for me, and that's what I'm targeting. So yeah, if I had to go back, that's what I'll change. Just
That's
go
a
back.
big change. Wow. Do you think you went into IT because of any pressure from your family, your community, your culture?
Not necessarily at that time. So I work after coming to this country. I worked as a dental assistant for a year, and then after my first child was born, I just my husband was working in IT, so he just said, you have some background in computers. Why don't you just brush up your skills and start looking for a job? It just felt easier, and the reason I opted for IT was because there was flexibility about with remote work. It was a desk job, so it just worked. Rather, it was, if it was again dental assisting, I had to go. There was no remote work in any way. So
Mhm.
that's the reason. I mean, I was surrounded with people like that, and then it just worked out. And I had my own challenges that we spoke about about remote work, but it worked out in that way. And then yeah, IT also pays good. I mean, no, compared to many other jobs, the pay was really good. So
Mhm.
staying there just
It
made.
was something that came to you versus something you went out and I mean you went out and sought it, but because it was sort of introduced to you as it checked a bunch of boxes, not as so much like, oh my gosh, this is my passion. I have to do this. I'm drawn to this. No.
No, no. I mean,
I-
at that
like
time, I didn't even think about passion, and it was
mm,
just like, okay, we have a child now. I need to start working, and then this is an option I can go for, and let's try to see. I almost failed more than 25 interviews before cracking my first IT job, but then once I was dedicated, I knew that I'm dedicated and committed. So if I say I'm going to do this, I know I'm going to give it my fullest.
mhm.
But yeah, at that time there was no room for passion. I mean, that didn't even cross my brain that okay, there is passion. What do I really want to do? And all that came during the pandemic for me.
Mhm. And now you're helping others to
Yes.
figure out what they want. And that's part of what we're doing here is helping people realize that you can, do that and have the work-life balance, that we hear about, in your own way. I thank you so much, Shruti, for sharing all these insights on today's episode of Women and Work. If you were inspired by today's story, remember to share it with a friend, leave a review, and subscribe to meet our next amazing guest. If you want to invest in a solution to the childcare crisis, check out MomSub's equity crowdfunding campaign at momsub.com/invest or connect with Mom Sub on our social media pages. That's Mom Sub, like a substitute mom. Our mission for you is to discover what you want in life, like Shruti was talking about. Pursue it with intensity, reach out for help when needed, and fulfill your dream, reducing your stress, guilt, and self criticism, and increasing your calm, confidence, and clarity along the way. So remember, your career, your choices, and your success are yours to define. Keep pushing boundaries and spreading your love and encouragement to other women who need it.